Welcome to the latest episode of What's New in Life Sciences, episode 5 and our final episode of 2024. So we're going to do something a little bit different. First of all, we'll do a recap on 2024, just a couple of highlights, and then what we thought we'd do this time is give you some trends for 2025. Now there's an abundance of trends and a lot of material and a lot of insight, but we tried to distill this down into a few pockets for you on the medical device sector, the pharmaceutical sector and the food sector, and we picked 2 or 3 key ones that might be of interest to you as a sort of forward-looking highlights. A quick recap and summary on 2024. Well, first of all, similarly to a lot of industries, it's been a challenging year. So 2024 in the life science sector has equally been facing some of the same things as other sectors, whether that be inflation, geopolitical challenges, elections, instability, unemployment, sometimes a lack of focus on projects, project funding. However, if we look forward to 2025, a number of studies conducted over the last sort of 3 to 6 months have indicated that the vast majority of execs involved in this within the life science sector were very optimistic about 2025 prospects. So much so they actually said, I think 75% of leading executives within that industry were confident about a productive 2025. Most of these organisations that were involved in some of these surveys also suggested that they anticipated revenues to increase beyond average as well, and innovation will play a key part in that. So let's get into it. We'll start with the pharmaceutical industry. There's always challenge, there's always innovation, there's continuous research, and I think I've said in videos before, you may have seen that the idea of preventative, predictive and more tailored patient care will become more prevalent over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. This isn't going anywhere. So patient-centric care will be a hot topic in 2025 and beyond. What effectively we mean is those tailored, personalised solutions, and alongside that, that therefore means whether it's the health sector or indeed the businesses behind the medicines and the drugs, there is a more personalised, preventative, predictive approach which could revolutionise certain pockets of the industry. Secondly, new market entrants. There's always going to be new market entrants, startups, SMEs, spin-offs from research centres and such like. But actually, what I mean is we're seeing the likes of Apple and Amazon come to the field. So now they're trying to make their mark in the healthcare sector, whether that be through driving innovation or it certainly creates competition for the more traditional pharmaceutical companies. So this could be a game changer, both in terms of the fight for talent and obviously the brand that goes with that, but also competition and what actually happens, what's produced as well. Lastly, on a similar note, one of the main things we see next year will continue to be digital transformation. What we mean by digital transformation is real-time clinical trials. Since 2020, this has been a hot topic and theme, and obviously the global landscape and what we've seen since the pandemic has seen a real attitude and aptitude and desire potentially for that speed of trial, that real-time trial becoming more mainstream as well. So for professionals, that could mean new skills in their roles, that could mean new opportunities in general around data analysis, digital health tools, compliance and quality related to that, and maybe AI over that a little bit as well. Onto the food sector. The food sector is always moving and it's becoming more and more important as the population continues to face the challenges it faces, whether it's growth or food shortages and such like. So technology, innovation will play a key stage, a centre stage in fact. The key trends we've decided to give you a little highlight of is the agri-tech boom. So the agri-tech market is forecasted to grow anywhere between 40 and 60 million over the next 5 years. Farmers globally, they're adapting to some of these technologies already, whether that's drones for crops, smart sensors, again, AI. One of the biggest adopters already, what we see is one of the biggest producers of food around the world is Europe, with 62% already starting to adopt some of these next generation agri-tech tools. The other focus will be on sustainability, which makes complete sense. Soil Degradation is a pressing issue, something that's been on a topic for probably the last 4, 5, 6 years now, but you might not be aware of this, but nearly a third of the Earth's soil is already considered to be degraded, which means we lose access to actual viable crop growing produce, essentially. Innovation for sustainable farming then becomes more and more crucial. So regenerative crops, regenerative agriculture, R&D related to soil degradation is critical basically to feeding a growing global population. And the third thing we'd like to highlight in the food sector is women and their place in agriculture. Nearly 50% of the workforce are women, but only 10% of the land is owned by women. In fact, only 7% of the investment is provided to female members of the industry. A recent study suggested that if that bridge could be gapped somehow, that could create somewhere between 20 and 30% in terms of yield increase. And when we say yield, we mean more crops grown, more farming done. Bearing in mind what we just talked about with regards to sustainability, growing food shortages and a growing population. This could in fact bridge that gap massively alone. Our last topic for our last episode, medical devices. This is where complexity can meet opportunity. The range of devices we know goes from home products all the way to super advanced and highly technical. But the areas we've chosen to focus on are, first of all, supply chain resilience. Now, this isn't something that's alone to the medical device sector, but it's worth pointing out that that sector is becoming more fragmented than maybe others and more vulnerable to disruption than others because of some of the materials used within devices. So whether it's geopolitical tension, regulatory changes, the types of materials used, companies are now prioritising even more adaptability, even more creativity and innovation to ensure that they can meet these supply chain disruptions and demands. Secondly, related to that would be regulatory overhaul. The EU's new medical device diagnostic regulations already shook up the industry. Professionals and companies alike need to think about where innovation can meet compliance, the part RA plays in that, regulatory affairs, where process improvement can play a part in that, but also, still fundamentally make great devices. Lastly, sustainability pressure. So the EU has a sustainability directive, which is related to climate goals. And in particular, when you consider what goes into making a device, companies in that sector are under growing pressure to think about how they can be more green, more sustainable, and more innovative in that space. Those are our trends that we see for 2025. That's the end of episode 5, and you'll see me next time. So if you need help, you got questions, you want advice, feel free to come to me or any of the Life Science team in 2025, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.